Says he wants to phase out license plates featuring the Confederate flag. The Democrat called the symbol unnecessarily divisive and hurtful. Last week, the Supreme Court ruled that Texas can reject specialized Confederate plates. The justices said the plates do not count as private speech. Marcus Simon is a Virginia state delegate, and he joins us from Washington, D.C. Let's take a look at Marcus. There he is. Marcus, good to see you. So do you agree with Governor McAuliffe's call to phase out the license plates with the Confederate flag on them?
Yeah, I think the governor made absolutely the right call on this one, and it's one that I and a number of my colleagues were considering doing before the governor made his announcement. The stars and bars, the Confederate battle flag, really has no place on Virginia license plates or in any other government-sponsored speech. I mean, it is in fact government speech when we put it on our license plates, and it's not the kind of symbol that the state needs to be endorsing. It's become a symbol of divisiveness, but a symbol of really racism, white supremacy, and it's something that doesn't belong as right next to the Virginia seal or underneath that Virginia license tag anymore.
So why has it been available for so long in your state?
Well, you know, the General Assembly in 1999 approved a license plate for sons of Confederate veterans, but in that legislation, we explicitly said that license plate ought not have the stars and bars symbol because we knew about how divisive it could be and the way that many people viewed it. But the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals said that we had to allow the sons of Confederate veterans to keep that on the license plate. It was a form of free speech. Since the Supreme Court about 10 days ago ruled that that's no longer the case, that the Fourth Circuit had that wrong, I think the governor made the right call in promptly calling for those license plates to be recalled and replaced with a license plate that does not include this Confederate flag any longer.
Okay, so the legislature, certainly your body has a role to play in this. It has to, let me know if I have this correct here. It has to vote to tell the DMV to remove the Confederate flag from the Virginia license plate. And so, Representative, you know that delegation better than I do. What kind of a debate on this issue are you anticipating?
I think that the Speaker of the House, who's a Republican, has said he's okay with the flag being removed from the license plate. So I don't think that this is going to be terribly controversial in Virginia. I've actually been pleased with responses on both sides of the aisle. I think there's an understanding that Virginia really does need to put forward an image that we are a new Virginia, not the old Dominion, but a new Dominion that's welcoming to all kinds of people in the 21st century. I think it's important to our image to attract businesses and investment in Virginia, and I think we really need to put a new face forward for Virginia, and I think that this will help do that. And I think the governor was right to order the DMV to immediately begin to redesign the plates and ask the Attorney General to take the necessary steps to get the Fourth Circuit to reverse its previous decision in light of this new Supreme Court precedent.
So Delegate, let me play the role of the person who is will not be in favor of this move should it pass. And I'm saying to you, doggone it, you've overreached. You've overstepped. This is activism. I don't like it. The stars and bars represent something that's very important to me. I have extended family that fought in the Civil War, that believes this is heritage. What do you say to me?
You know, those folks have the ability, if they want to put a bumper sticker on their car. They can express that heritage in a number of different ways. What they can't do is compel me or anyone else in Virginia to sort of condone that speech or to endorse it by putting it on a state license plate or on something that the state produces. So I would say, you know, if you want to be proud of that heritage, there are ways for you to express that. But for the majority of Virginians, I think we don't see that symbol as something to be proud of, but really it's part of our past that we'd like to put behind us. We need to have some healing in Virginia. We need to be inclusive. And we need to move forward.
You know, I've got a couple more questions I want to ask you here, so I'm going to beg for the gallery's indulgence here. Logically, given, not logically, but logistically, given a yes vote on this, in other words, a vote to remove the Confederate flag from the Virginia license plate, what are the logistical challenges, the legal challenges to doing this, to recalling, you mentioned earlier, the existing plates and reissuing plates? And logistically, how difficult is that going to be to accomplish?
Well, you know, there's going to be a new plate design, and so that's going to take some time and some effort, and I suspect there are going to be some people that aren't going to want to let go of those plates that they've currently got on their cars. So there's going to, there'll be some logistical difficulties there. I think we'll immediately stop issuing new plates, and so I think that's a good step. I think again, there's going to be, the court has ruled, we now believe incorrectly, that there's a free speech interest there. So the Attorney General is going to have to figure out the appropriate steps to take to have those decisions reversed and to make sure that we're on solid legal footing when we go after those plates and have them recalled and bring them back. But it's going to be some effort, but it's effort I think that's effort well spent, and it's well worth it.
I wonder if you've thought about this. It's the flag on the license plate in Virginia today. Maybe tomorrow it's about the monuments, right? All the statues honoring Confederate leaders. What is it, Monument Avenue there in Richmond?
Yeah. I've already gotten calls from constituents and emails actually encouraging me to not stop with the flag, but to talk about some of the streets. So I have a street that runs right through my district. It's called Lee Highway in honor of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. And I've had folks that live along that street tell me, we need to rename this highway. We need to rename some of our high schools, get rid of these monuments that, yes, Virginia's got a heritage and a history to be proud of, but to the extent that we continue to glorify these folks who were champions for maintaining slavery and who are glorified as folks that were divisive figures in our history, we need to take them down a little bit, take them off that pedestal if Virginia is really going to move forward into the 21st century.
So the question put to you directly, if you're faced with the question from your constituents, where do you stand on the question of the statues to Robert E. Lee, to Jefferson Davis, to Stonewall Jackson? What's your response?
Yeah, I believe that there's a place to continue to acknowledge our history. I think that kind of history belongs in a museum so that people can see it and experience it. I don't think we need to wipe these folks out of our memories, but I don't think we need to glorify them, put them on a pedestal in a way that says that these are the good old days or days that we should somehow yearn to return to. I think that they are days we need to put behind us, and we need to move forward and show that Virginia is a new place. And so I would support moving some of those things into a place where they can be seen and remembered, but we need to put some of our civil rights leaders alongside them or maybe in their place. We need to, again, think about symbols that talk about what Virginia is today and what we can be in the future and move beyond some of our past, which is really not always something we want to be proud of.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate. Marcus Simon is a Virginia State delegate joining us from Washington, D.C. Enjoyed that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we are getting a new look at the very moment that police arrested the man accused of killing 9 people at a church in Charleston. Police in Shelby, North